Okay, quick question. Before fire was invented, back when we were cave people just trying to make it through the day, where exactly were we getting our protein? No supplements, no chicken breasts in plastic wrap, no protein bars with 17 ingredients and a picture of a bicep on the front. No one was tracking their macros on an app. And yet, here we are, hundreds of thousands of years later, still standing. Clearly, we figured something out. Now, look at the modern protein conversation. Protein water, protein coffee, protein chips, protein cereal. People in full panic at 9 p.m. because they're 30 grams short of their daily goal. And on the other side, people who are genuinely not eating enough protein at all and wondering why they're exhausted, losing muscle, and hungry all the time. Both of these groups exist. Neither of them is being well served by what's out there. So let's talk about it like actual humans. So I'm a holistic nutritionist and have been for the last 15 years. And what that means is that I look at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, not just one piece of the puzzle. And protein is a topic I genuinely care about getting right because the noise around it has gotten so loud and some really important stuff is getting completely buried here. I'm also going to say up front that I strength train regularly, partly because I want to keep and build muscle as I get older, and partly because it is an absolutely excellent way to burn off your frustrations. Highly recommend on both counts. And protein is a big part of why that works. So I'm not speaking theoretically here. This is stuff I actually live. So let's go back to the cave person thing for a second, because I think it makes a genuinely important point. Before we had agriculture, before we had refrigeration, and before we had feedlots and factories and protein powders, humans ate what was available to them. And a lot of it was plants, roots, seeds, legumes, nuts, leaves, animal protein when they could get it, which wasn't every day, and definitely wasn't a skinless, boneless chicken breast raised in a barn with 2,000 other chickens. And here's the thing that the current protein conversation now never seems to mention. Some of the biggest, most muscular animals on the planet are herbivores. Gorillas, elephant, bison, horses. Nobody's handing them a protein shake and telling them that their plant protein is inferior. They are building enormous amounts of muscles and maintaining it for decades on plants, exclusively. Now, I'm not saying you need to eat like a gorilla, for God's sakes. I'm saying that the idea that the plant protein is somehow lesser, a backup option, is complete bullshit. And it's an idea that has been heavily promoted by industries that benefit from you believing it. Here's what I want you to know about protein without making your eyes glaze over. Protein is not just a gym thing. It is the raw material for almost everything in your body that builds and runs. Your immune system runs on it, your hormones are made from it, your skin, hair, and nails and connective tissue are built from it. Your muscles obviously need it, your blood and your gut needs it too. When you don't get enough protein, your body doesn't just have less muscle building material, it has less of everything. And it has to make choices about what gets priority. Spoiler, your muscles and your skin are not at the top of that list when your body is in triage mode. Vital organs and immune function come first. Everything else gets whatever's left. Protein, it also keeps you full longer than almost anything else. It stabilizes your blood sugar better than carbs alone, and your body actually burns more energy digesting protein than it does digesting fat or carbs. So from a weight management standpoint, protein is doing the heavy lifting. Pun absolutely intended. So this is the one thing I really want Gen X to hear because it doesn't get talked about enough. And by the time most people really realize it's happening, it's already been happening for a while. Starting in your 30s and accelerating through your 40s, 50s, and beyond, your body starts naturally losing its muscle mass. Not dramatically overnight, just quietly and consistently. And if you're not actively working against it with strength training and adequate protein, it adds up. Less muscle means slower metabolism, more fat storage, less strength, worse balance, harder to recover from an illness or injury, and significantly reduced quality of life as you age. This is not about vanity. This is about being able to carry your own damn groceries, get them off the fucking floor, and stay independent for as long as you goddamn well can. Muscle is your metabolic engine and your physical insurance policy. And the two best tools you have to protect it are weightlifting and eating enough protein. Not cardio, not calcium supplements, protein and strength training. These are your tools. I strength train specifically because of this. It keeps my muscles and my metabolism moving. And as I mentioned, it is an outstanding outlet for the particular frustrations of being a functioning adult in this stupid modern world. But it only works properly if you're fueling it with enough protein. Training without nutrition is only half the equation. So how much do you actually need? The official government recommendation for protein is quite low, and it was set as the minimum basically to provide deficiency, not the optimum for health, muscle maintenance, or aging well. Most nutrition researchers now agree it's not enough for most real-world adults, especially in your 40s and beyond. A more useful target for active people is somewhere between 1.2 and 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight a day. So if you weigh 75 kilograms, you're looking at roughly 90 to 100 kilograms of protein a day. I am not a math expert, so if you need to figure it out, use a calculator because that's exactly how I would do it. And if you are looking at it in pounds, use a converter on the computer because that's how I'm going to do it too. Spread your protein across the 3 meals, and that's roughly 30 to 40 grams per meal, which is very doable with real food. And here's something the gym culture gets wrong. More is not infinitely better. There's a point of diminishing returns. Eating double your target doesn't double your results. What matters more than hitting some massive number is spreading your protein across your meals consistently throughout the day. 100 grams of protein at dinner is not the same as 30 to 40 grams each meal. A 100 grams of protein at dinner is not the same as 30 to 40 grams at each meal. Distribution matters. Your body can only use so much at once. Also, and I say this because it comes up constantly, your kidneys are not going to explode from eating adequate protein. That concern applies to people with pre-existing kidney disease, where protein restriction is medically appropriate and they are dealing with their medical practitioners for this reason. For people with healthy kidneys, eating adequate protein is not a problem. Your kidneys are fine, so let's move on. Plant protein, the original, not the backup. Okay, this is a part where I really want to dig in because it drives me absolutely fucking crazy how plant proteins get treated as a consolation prize in the protein conversation. They're not. They never fucking were. Legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, edamame, they're protein powerhouses. A cup of cooked lentils has about 18 grams of protein, a pile of fiber, iron, folate, and a bunch of other things that your body loves. They cost almost nothing. They keep forever in your pantry, and they have been a primary protein source for most of human history across most of the world. Tofu and tempeh, both are made from soy. They're complete proteins, meaning that they contain all of the essential amino acids your body needs. Tempeh especially is also fermented, which means you get gut health benefits on top of protein. If you've written off tofu because of one bad experience with a bland white cube, tempeh might change your mind. It has a completely different texture and a much more interesting flavor. Hemp. And I want to make a specific point about this one because it gets overshadowed by pea and rice protein in the supplement world, and it absolutely shouldn't. Hemp is a complete protein. It contains all essential amino acids. It has an excellent ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids, which is genuinely hard to find in a plant source. Hemp hearts, the shelled ones, are one of the most nutritionally dense things that you can add to a meal. Sprinkle them on anything, smoothies, oatmeal, salads, yogurts, whatever. And hemp is a Canadian crop grown here. So you're supporting local agriculture, which is a bonus. Hemp protein powder is also worth mentioning. It's a whole food protein powder, less processed than most whey or pea proteins, and it comes with those omega-3s intact. If I'm going to suggest a protein powder for someone, hemp is at the top of my list. Pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and almonds, they're all solid protein sources that come with healthy fats, magnesium, zinc, and other things your hormones and your nervous system genuinely need. A handful of pumpkin seeds is about 9 grams of protein, so they're easy to add to any meal or snack. Quinoa, one of the few plant proteins that is actually a complete protein on its own. You'd use it as rice, but know that it's bringing meaningfully more protein and a better nutritional profile. Nutritional yeast, and this one's underrated a bit, and also my secret weapon. It is a deactivated yeast with a cheesy, nutty flavor that works on popcorn, pasta, roasted vegetables, anything really. It's also a complete protein and a great source of B vitamins, especially if you're vegan. 2 tablespoons gives you about 8 grams of protein. Vegetarians and vegans have known about this for decades, and everyone else is sleeping on it. The point is, plant proteins are abundant, verified, affordable, and have been sustaining humans on the planet and the largest animals on Earth for as long as there have been human beings and large animals. They don't need defending, they need more credit. And look, I'm not anti-meat, I'm anti-bad quality meat being treated as a health food. There's a difference. And if I were going to eat meat, honestly, I would hunt. You know exactly what the animal ate, how it lived, and what's in it. That's the gold standard. Second best is bison, buffalo, or grass-fed, grass-finished beef, animals that lived the way they were meant to live and ate the way that they were meant to eat. The nutritional profile is genuinely different from the conventionally raised meat. The problem in Canada is that this stuff is expensive as hell and very hard to find, especially grass-finished. Conventional grocery store meat is a completely different conversation, and I'll be making a video about it because it deserves the time. But the short version is quality matters enormously with animal protein, and not all animal protein is created equal, not even close. Wild-caught fish is the animal protein I push hardest for everyone. It contains protein, omega-3s, B12, vitamin D, all in one package. Canned sardines and salmon are among the most nutritious and affordable foods in any grocery store, and almost nobody is eating them regularly. Eggs from pasture-raised hens are incredibly valuable. They're complete protein, they've got healthy fats, choline for your brain, and they cost 30 to 50 cents each depending on where you live. Organic or pasture-raised dairy, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, solid protein options if you tolerate dairy well. But please stop treating a conventional factory farm chicken breast as the pinnacle of healthy eating. It has its own story, and it's not the one the packaging is telling you. More on that on a future video. So what about protein powder and supplements? They're fine as a convenience tool, but they're not a replacement for real food. Not superior to food, just a tool. If you genuinely can't get enough protein from whole food on a particular day, a quality protein powder fills the gap. Hemp protein is my first choice. Whole food, complete protein. Canadian comes with the omega-3s. If you prefer whey, go for a clean isolate, organic when possible, without a lot of added sweeteners and fillers. For a plant-based, a pea rice blend covers the amino acid base as well. though hemp is a better single source option. What I push back hard on is protein powders. Most of them are just essentially candy bars with some protein powder added and a very convincing label. Check the ingredient list. If it reads like a chemistry experiment, it's not food, it's a processed snack with very good marketing. A boiled egg and a handful of pumpkin seeds is cheaper, more nutritious, and more satiating than most protein bars on the planet, and it's real fucking food. So how is this practical? Here's how this actually works on a day-to-day without turning eating into a part-time job. Anchor every meal with a protein source, not as an afterthought. As a foundation, you build the rest of the meal around. Breakfast especially, because most people undereat protein in the morning and then wonder why they're hungry by 10 a.m. and reaching for donuts or some shit that they didn't plan to eat. 2 eggs with some hemp hearts sprinkled on top and a piece of smoked salmon get you as close to 35 grams of protein before you've even left the house. A bowl of Greek yogurt with hemp hearts and some nuts get you there too. A smoothie with hemp protein powder, some nut butter, and a banana. Done. Legumes are your best friend for lunch and dinner. A big pot of lentil soup or a chickpea curry made on Sunday feeds you a protein for almost nothing for the week. Black beans in a bowl with rice, salsa, and avocado is also a completely satisfying, protein-rich meal that takes like 15 minutes. Keep boiled eggs, pumpkin seeds, edamame, and plain Greek yogurt in your fridge as default snacks. These are your grab-and-go protein options that don't require a wrapper with a bicep on it. And if you're over 40, take this shit seriously. Muscle loss is a quiet and already starting process. Protein and strength training are how you fight it. You don't have to be intense about it. You just have to be consistent. 2 to 3 times a week is all it takes. Your future self will be genuinely grateful. So here's the summary of the actual protein conversation. You probably need more than you're getting, especially if you're over 40 and not paying attention to it. You also certainly don't need as much as the gym culture is telling you. Plant proteins are not inferior. They are the original protein source, and they deserve to be the foundation of your diet, not an afterthought. Quality matters way fucking more than quantity when it comes to animal protein. And nope, your kidneys are fine. Eat your lentils, sprinkle hemp hearts on everything, pick up some eggs, lift something heavy a few times a week, and take your frustrations out on it productively. That's pretty much the whole plan. Subscribe for more No BS Nutrition, and I'll see you in the next one.